In the end, the behavior of your customers, they tell you a story. The data storytelling is a thing. And when you connect all this data from your Shopify, everything related with purchases, related with abandoned carts, related with customers, related with the value that the customer spends, when they spend, all this information is going to be analyzed.
Hello, welcome to another episode of the E-commerce Coffee Break podcast. A lot has changed in e-commerce in 2025. Ad cost kept rising, tracking kept getting weaker, and for many Shopify brands, meta ads just don't work like they used to. It's a real growth problem. So today we're tackling a big question. How are first-party data and AI rewriting the rules of e-commerce acquisition? And more importantly, how can brands take control instead of just guessing inside ad platforms? To break this down, I'm joined by Tiago Costa. He is the CEO of Full Venue and the force behind Clustie.ai, a platform helping e-commerce brands use their own customer data and AI to find high-value buyers and run smarter meta ad campaigns. Tiago, great to have you on the show.
Thank you very much for this intro, Klaus. It's a pleasure to be here. And just saying that you briefly resume everything that's on our mind and the reason why we are here and the reason why we are doing this, it's exactly to tackle that kind of problems and help brands to use intelligence with their hands, really simple. So yeah, happy to be here. Thank you.
Let's dive into it. So many Shopify brands feel like they're just burning cash on meta ads these days. What's the problem? Why is it so difficult nowadays with meta ads?
No, it's like a feedback loop, because let's focus on a kind of brand that sells. Okay, let's create this assumption. We will talk about a brand that is selling. They have a marketing department or even the management, and they decide to, okay, let's grow. So to grow, we need to go for different channels. We need to act on different marketing pieces. And one of the pieces are the advertising platforms. And the advertising platforms, they need budget to show what you have, your product, to a specific audience. And the thing is, every time that you invest more to get more sales, you are targeting to a broader audience. You are targeting to people that you don't know at all. And there's a problem because, okay, you invest 10 and you sell 20. If you invest 20, you won't sell 40. And this is the problem because in the end, the brands start to increase the budget that they have allocated on advertising and they don't see results. And what they do, they change the marketing team, they change the marketing agencies, they change their mindsets, probably they change their products, but they didn't look into their data. They didn't look into who are their customers, what they can do with their customers, how to identify exactly what's their ICP. And as a startup, and you know it, we need to define our ICP. And that's the work that's when a startup is going from 0 to 1. If you don't know exactly the ICP, you will be just rounding in circles without finding the people that want your product or even to understand if your product has a fit. So for all the brands that are spending money on ads, they need to find their ICP. And we have a tool that is finding their ICP with AI on top of their data with a couple of clicks.
Mm-hmm. I think right now a lot of people have the feeling, specifically with the meta ad platform, because everything is AI now, that they just basically have a black void and hope for the best what Meta figures out. Back in the good old days with Meta, with Facebook, you had a very granular targeting and you really could work out and try to target your exact ICP. That's not longer the case. Now, as Meta is not providing you this information, I think with Clustie, you came up with a way to help with that. Let's dive right into it. So Clustie is obviously your brainchild and you're growing it quickly. How does it work?
Yeah, Clustie, it's a simple tool that connects with Shopify stores. Okay, that's for all the Shopify brands, so brands selling on the Shopify platform, they can go to Shopify App Store, they can download Clustie, they can install Clustie in this case, and when installing Clustie, what they will do, the process that they will pass through is connect their Shopify store to Clustie. We will bring all the data, okay, customers, products, and orders. So first-party data, pure data, no tricks, no secret sauces. So only the data that the brands have on their Shopify stores. Then inside our tool, we also ask the brand to connect their Meta account in order that we can have this bridge between Clustie and the advertising account, okay? And inside our black box, Clustie, we have a set of AI models that are identifying the best customers inside the databases from the brand. The thing is, we have this powerhouse of segmentation, and this powerhouse of segmentation is powered by AI and is talking to you. So it's showing you which kind of segments you should activate. It's allowing you not only to integrate the segment to Meta, you have like a button where you can pass the segment to Meta, but if you are a marketer that you don't want to do the thing that you did all the time before, so imagine that you are a performance marketing engineer or a performance marketing manager and you are creating a Meta campaign. And you always create the Meta campaigns accordingly to what you know or to what the brand told you to do. If you want to challenge that mindset, we created a feature that is called the one-click campaign builder that not only inserts the AI audience in Meta, but creates an entire structure of a Meta campaign with campaign, ad set, and ad, based on all the information that the brand has on their Meta account. So we are running a set of business rules, putting some AI on top of it, and creating this campaign with one click. And the only thing that the customer needs to do is to go to Meta account and click play. So yeah, so really simple, really straightforward. And this resulted from, I would say, 3 years of exploration, 3 years working as a AI marketing agency, doing this kind of thing, but connecting with tech teams to the different APIs of the different data sourcings, connecting to the different advertising platforms. And after, of course, raising capital, we tried to productize what we were doing and we arrived to Clustie.
Mm-hmm. No, it's actually quite interesting that you said you're working, basically you come from the problems that you have and you produced a tool that helps with solving this problem with the help of AI. Now, we're talking about high intent audiences here. That's what everyone is after. What does that mean in simple terms?
In the end, the behavior of your customers, they tell you a story. So the data storytelling is a thing, and not from today, but from a couple of years before. Data has something to say. And when you connect all this data from your Shopify, everything related with purchases, related with abandoned carts, related with customers, related with the value that the customer spends, when they spend, the sales peaks that you have during the year, depending on the seasonality of what we are talking about. So all this information is going to be analyzed, not by our team, but by our models. Okay, so in the models, we are talking about models, really simple models, RFM models, and then we can put in on top of RFM, we can put clustering on top of it. So we have like a set of models and generating different audiences. Right now, we are fully focused in 2 different types of audiences. One of them, we call it the high-propensity buyers. So if the brand is pushing for a conversion campaign, and usually all of them have some conversion campaigns that they push hard, they really burn budget there, they should use the high-propensity buying audiences. But we also developed a model that is performing really well, the LTV model, that is focused on who is going to buy on the next 30, 60, 90 days. And we are also allowing brands to transport to Meta this kind of segment from our product. So when we say high propensity buyers or people that look like they will buy, this is all based in data. There is no guesswork, there is no manual work. So the work was building the models with the tools that we have, was creating this platform that is running these models really slightly, really fast. And the thing is to be really fast and simple and integrating them. And then challenging everything that Meta and Google, what they are doing in terms of AI, because of course we are talking about huge players with infinite capacity to develop AI, to develop these different strategies in terms of conversion campaigns, for example. But at the same time, everything that they launch gets really crowded really fast. And the ones that think slightly different, and what we are doing is not more than just giving intelligence on the brand's data. And there is any platform, neither OpenAI, neither Meta, neither Google, that can have this that the brand has. The brand has this information, it's on their hands, and we are allowing the brand just to connect their platforms, their infrastructure, and using this kind of audience brain to leverage the results on the marketing side.
So it's all about efficiency, what you did in the past, more or less manual, that goes into the AI, and then obviously you can scale quite easily from there. Now, with every AI model, training is an issue. With your system, with Clustie, how long is the training before it really can get started?
Yeah, so usually it depends on the platform that you are delivering your ads, okay? Because the segmentation itself, we can produce it in seconds. When you are installing Clustie, you have like a loop when we are bringing the data from your Shopify, and depending on the size of your Shopify, it can have some minutes to load all the data. And this is not something that we can control, because Shopify obliges you to make several requests depending on the amount of data that you have. So we need to go through all the process. But once we have the data, the models are calculated really fast, so in seconds, and the segments are generated and integrated in Meta. But after being in Meta, after being launched in a campaign, you have the learning curve, you have the learning phase. And what we saw during all these tests that we've been doing since we launched Clustie is that our segmentation takes around 2 weeks to perform properly, 2 to 3 weeks to perform properly. And that's why we are also giving this 30 days trial to all the brands that wants to test our product, because we want them to really make a test. Because more than just trying Clustie and see what happens, they need to wait 30 days to see the real value, but they won't be paying for it. And at the same time, we are getting a lot of information, a lot of good feedback from different customers. Some of the feedback organic, because we are following everything that they are doing. Some of the feedback given from the customer itself. So yes, really, really powerful.
I think that's a great offer, and patience is something that a lot of digital marketers, me included, do usually not have. And with Meta, obviously, you need to wait until you have a number of conversions or a time scale to really see what happens. You mentioned something earlier, which I'm interested to find out more about. And a lot of our listeners have been in a situation when you scale, you throw more money on your well-performing campaign. It kills the campaign. How does your system help in preventing this?
Yes. So what we are doing is if you look into impressions and reach of a normal or broad, even an Advantage Plus marketing campaign, the numbers are huge. So you are targeting a lot of people. By using our kind of segmentation, immediately you will have a lower number of impressions and a lower number of reach. So you are reaching less people. It allows you to multiply the budget that you put on that campaign. Because imagine if you have a conversion campaign reaching 1 million people that is performing well, and you invest in that campaign, probably the results will start to low down, because you have 1 million and probably there is no much more people so engaged with your brand. But if you are looking into specific people that came from your database, and even that you built lookalikes on it, that's what we do to find new customers. We build lookalike on seed audiences. Even though the impressions and the reach number are not so high, so you can put more money on these campaigns because you are focusing on a niche. So less people, less money, customer acquisition cost lower. The average order value usually is higher. So you have a few metrics that you can play with, and you can put more money on those campaigns. At the same time, you need always to have in mind that you should look into all the campaign details, and the campaign is not only the budget, is not only the audience, is not only the copies, the creative. So it's everything. It's working together, and that's why we also have this feature coming in. We call it the Clustie.ai Insights. That is talking with the customer every day in our platform, saying what's happening, mainly related with audiences and with budget optimization, because that's where we can play. but also giving some other advices to the customer, things that he could do to increase the results of their campaigns.
Mm-hmm. It's actually something I wanted to ask you. So if you have connected Clustie with Shopify, with your Meta Ads platform, how does the typical day-to-day work from a marketing manager look like when they're working with Clustie?
Yes, super simple. So they set up. Every time that they are planning a campaign launch, they include the Clustie campaign or the Clustie segments inside their campaigns. Thinking about Clustie as the high-propensity buyers, so higher ROAS, lower customer acquisition costs. So this kind of ad set, let's say, this audience should be in the campaign and launch the campaign and following the numbers. So I would, if I was the marketing manager of a brand and if I was using Clustie, I would go there every day to see the return of the Clustie campaign, to see if I have some information coming, relevant information of something that I should change in Meta. And at the same time, every time that I need to refresh audiences, every time that I need to create new campaigns, go again to Clustie, do the process again, and yes, just wait for the results to come. But in the end, this is like a tool that should be used during campaign launch, during campaign optimization, and super simple, 5 minutes inside Clustie, and you can do your work after.
Okay, excellent. Could you share some success stories or case studies? You don't need to name a brand of businesses that have effectively leveraged this technology.
Yes, of course. Something that is getting really interesting right now is the reach that we are having. So it's fully different to run an agency or to run a product. So fully different. And right now, even with the AI agency style, we were doing projects all over the world in 5-7 geographies, something like that. But today we are having installations from all around the world, because even focusing on advertising for specific parts of the globe, we are getting people from all the parts of the world. So inside these brands, we have some really interesting cases, and I have a case of a brand that is coming from Colombia, if I'm not mistaken, that they had a lot of campaigns when we are talking about the vertical of beauty and cosmetics, okay? And they have several campaigns for several countries all over the world. And what they decided to do was to create a second campaign, like an A/B test. And that's something that we like to say to everyone that is installing Clustie, that you don't need to do an A/B test. Consider Clustie as an add-on inside your campaigns. It's another thing that you have, another tool that you have to generate sales that are more qualified, that are better sales, that will reflect in better first-party data. But some customers, of course, they want to test, they want to be sure that they should pay for the product, and they duplicate the campaign. So in this case, they were targeting Deutschland, they were targeting Spain, Italy, France, so a lot of countries in Europe, and they just duplicated the campaign and created a new campaign with the same name _ Clustie. The results are super impressive, even for me, to be honest. Because there is no any country where Clustie is not overpassing the results of the original campaign. And we are talking about return on ad spend 50% higher, customer acquisition costs like 15 to 20% lower, and higher average order values. Then we have cases, I can tell you that usually the worst cases that we have right now with the brands that installed Clustie are cases where we are keeping the same number, the same performance of the best campaigns that they have. Okay, so imagine a company that is working on a 3.0 ROAS, and we launched the Clustie campaign and we got that 3.0 ROAS, but with 10 minutes of installation and 1 click of campaign launch. And this is crazy, because probably the best campaign that the customer have took years to generate those results, and we have it in seconds. So we have this range of the stores that are more or less with the same results. Super challenging to convert a store like that from our free to paid. So when the trial lands and you want to convert it to a paid customer, it's super challenging to convince them to stay when the results are the same. But what we try to explain is that the product, it's much more than increasing the ROAS directly. So you have new audiences that will have a compounding effect that will overpass the numbers that you have, but not in the first 3 weeks, but probably in the first 3 months. At the same time, you will have a full awareness on the data that you have. You will have AI segmentation being generated with one click. But then we have all the other customers where we are surpassing the numbers. There are a lot of them. So right now we are with a free to paid tax of around 50%. That is crazy. And when I'm talking with the team, I'm always telling that probably we won't be able to keep these kind of numbers when we increase the funnel. So when we are having like 50 installations a day, probably we won't get 25 of those 50 transforming into a paid customer in the second month. But we are having these figures. So right now we are talking about an average increase of 50% on the return on ad spend, lowering the customer acquisition cost from 15 to 30%, and the average order value in the same proportion, 15 to 20% higher. So these are the numbers that we commonly have.
And that's the power of AI. And even if you're not increasing massively, you're saving a ton of time. And time is money. So basically you only can win. Now you touched a little bit on the onboarding, that is very quickly, but walk me through the typical onboarding process for a new user. What steps are involved? How long does it take to get up and running?
Yeah, so usually in 2 days you have your campaign running already. But we have 2 different onboarding types that we are testing them. One of them is fully organic. So imagine, Klaus, that you have your Shopify store and after this interview, you want to install Clustie. You will do it all by yourself. So I would say that probably in 1 or 2 hours, you can have your campaigns running in Meta, and tomorrow we will be able probably to have a conversion or something like that. Then you have the second level where we are taking the customer by the hand. Okay. So our customer success team sees that someone is interested because they filled a form in one of our landing pages, or someone installed Clustie on Shopify App Store and uninstalled a couple of minutes later. And we are on top of it. We are calling, we are sending an email, and we are helping the customer. So we schedule a meeting probably for tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. We have like a 15 minutes onboarding call where we leave everything ready on the client side. And then with all the customers, right now we have time allocated to them, and we have like 15 to 20 minutes weekly with all of them, just for feedback. Because everything that we need right now, it's feedback from who's using Clustie. And of course that we have our insights. We try to pass the best way to leverage the product and what we are doing in the advertising platform. But as important as explaining to the customer how to use Clustie is to getting feedback from the customer. Because when you are launching a product, the customer knows what you need to have. So we need to bring it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a win-win situation, I think, from both ends there. Now, obviously, you can save a ton of money with Clustie, but how does your pricing structure work? How do you charge for it?
Yeah, we are just iterating around it. So working a lot, studying a lot. We wanted something that was like a no-brainer for the brands. Okay, so right now, if you go to Shopify and install Clustie, you will see that we have we have 3 different prices right now on the pricing model, depending on the amount of customers that you have on your Shopify store. Okay, so right now it's the way that we are working, and you have like $80, $200, and $400. And $400 is for a huge store with more than 150,000 customers in the database. In between 10,000 and 150,000, you have the mid-tier, and the $79 you have for shops that with less than 10,000 customers. So the idea of this pricing is to be really simple, really easy, no-brainer to pay this, because everything that we are doing, time saving, audience intelligence, advertising insights with actionable actions. When you are putting a price on a tool, you need to look into your competition, because you need to fit with your competition, and we did it also. So we believe that right now we are ready to go for the numbers that we need as a startup. We need to reach more than 1 million ARR by the end of 2026, because we have investors, we have goals, we need to go to the Series A in the end of the year. So yeah, we believe that we are ready to go there.
And on top of that, you have a 30-day test drive. So I think that's a no-brainer to try it out. And then talking about $300 or $400 a month for a bigger brand, that's literally peanuts. There's not really much money for what actually you can save on time and get on better conversions there. Tiago, before our coffee break comes to an end today, is there anything you want to share with our listeners that we haven't covered yet?
No, the message is the one that we are trying to pass since the beginning. That is, we have this tool. We have an incredible team doing this here in Portugal. That's crazy. Portugal is growing a lot in terms of technology, in terms of the startup landscape. It's doing incredible things, and we have this dream of transforming this company on a unicorn, and more than that, to democratize the way brands use audience intelligence on their databases. So we want to be a really simple tool that is being efficient, generating more sales, finding high-value customers with a couple of clicks, and everyone is happy in the end. So yes, and the most important message is this is work in progress. So what we are today, we won't be tomorrow. We will be better, and we will be better if we have more feedback from customer. And this loop that we are creating here, and even internally, the message that I try to pass to everyone in the company is that we are continually learning everything that the customer needs to tell us in order to be better tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. And there lies a huge chance for your customers as well. So for our listeners, if you have feedback, please share it with Tiago. It will help you at the end of the day. Now, where can our listeners go and find out more about you?
If they want to know about Clustie, they should go to Clustie.ai. They can go also to our company website, Full Venue. So Full Venue is the mother of Clustie. So Clustie resides under the umbrella of Full Venue. So it's a product that we launched this year. You will find everything also on our social networks, on LinkedIn, on Instagram of Full Venue. Yes, and of course, you can try to reach me, send me a message if you have any question, any feedback. If you are interested in installing Clustie, feel free to do it all by yourself, because all the team built a process for you, the brand, to be able to do this without any action on our side. So yeah, but feel free to reach. I'm always super interested in learning more about the customer feeling on what we are doing.
Cool. I will put the links in the show notes, and you're just one click away. To our listeners, reach out to Tiago, try Clustie out. I think it's a great solution to make your life easier when you're running meta ads. And thank you, Tiago, for giving us an insight also into a startup. It's always exciting times. Thanks so much for your time today.
Thanks, Klaus. It was a pleasure.